So here we are kind of back to the stage where we just retrieve data for Apple, okay, from January 1st, 2024 to October 10th, 2024. Okay, that's where we have started before we set up any parameters. Okay, so let's see another common problem when you try to set up parameters. So here, when you try to open under the so this is a query editor, right? So under the home tab, advanced editor, you see this code that helps you to retrieve data. And as we learn, we try to separate this into different pieces so that we can set up parameters, right? And for our original piece, you try to enclose them in quotation marks. And for the remaining, I'm gonna replace this AAPL with a parameter called stock symbol. And again, remember, if you try to connect one piece of string with another, there needs to be a ampersand sign. Okay. So after one string, if you want to connect to the next piece of string, again, there has to be a ampersand sign. So the space in between, okay, those spaces doesn't matter. You can use larger spaces, you can use smaller space. Here, just to kind of make reading easier, I have quite a few spaces in here, okay, to separate this different pieces of information. So after this string, again, this API key needs to be replaced by a parameter called API key. All right. Again, to connect those strings, I use ampersand sign. Okay, then we have start date. And lastly, and you see here I made a mistake. This equal sign should be inside this string. Okay, that's part of the original string. Okay, I'm only gonna replace this date as the end date. The equal sign should be in here. Okay, I won't mess with the equal sign. Should be kept with the original string. So now I have the parameter set up. Okay, that's what I did when I first introduced the parameters. Okay, I'm just replacing those pieces of information with a kind of dynamic thing. I can use different stock symbols. I can use different start dates and end dates. Okay, so now if you just click done, you can see there will be a problem. Okay, um, that's to be expected, right? Because you haven't really defined any function, any parameters yet. So let's define the parameters, and this error is going to go away. Okay, so the situation is that when you first deal with this thing, you probably instantly feel, okay, I probably made a mistake in this coding. So well, um as long you have, yeah, actually you have some mistakes here. You should have the ampersand sign included as well. All right, so yeah, that's actually a mistake you made. So once you have those, this entire thing is gonna be fine, and you click done. Still you will see an error. Okay, that's because those parameters are not, there's no specific value provided to those parameters. Although you have set up them inside this URL, you need to provide specific values to them such that Power BI can retrieve specific set of data for you. Okay. So here, because no specific value has been defined, there's error. Okay. So next, as long as you keep going and define those parameters, this error will eventually disappear. So that's an issue I want to point out, because the first time you try to set up this code in the advanced editor, seems that you have done everything correctly following my video, but once you click done, you still see an error. So you probably get confused. Okay, but just yeah, that's not a kind of well, it is an error, but it's gonna be corrected very soon once you have your parameters defined. So let's just do the parameters. Uh, we'll have the stock symbol again defined as text, and the current value will be AAPL. Okay, this is gonna be defined, and we're going to introduce another API key. As I said, the name of this thing has to be exactly matches what you have typed in the definition of that query, historical data query. Okay, in that advanced editor, whatever name you use there, you need to have the exact same name here. Okay, so this is also has to be text format. And again, I'm going to copy my API key and use it here. All right, then the start date and end date needs to be provided as text. So again, format is very important. 4 digit year dash 2 digit month 2 digit date. Okay, and also type has to be text. So start date is well defined, and date. Okay, again, type has to be text. Format 2024, 4 digits year dash 2 digit month dash 2 digit date. All right. So now all those parameters are defined. Now if you go here, see that error, that kind of exclamation mark goes away, because once those things are clearly defined and provided with a specific value, this query historical data actually has a kind of specific meaning that it can retrieve data, no problem. Okay, so there's no more error. Okay, so here yeah, again, as I said, I just want to point out this issue, because once you first set up those parameters in this URL, before you actually given them specific values, you probably still see an error. But don't worry, as long as you define those parameters individually, provided the right kind of the specific values to them according to the rules, okay, in terms of format, in terms of text format, okay, then you should be fine.